Right. It was more or less 2 years ago since Britain got put under lockdown, and they said initially the lockdown was going to go on for 3 weeks, but after the 3 weeks was up, it had to be extended. You know what I mean? It had to be extended for quite a while, a lot longer than 3 weeks, and I might be wrong, but it could have been the summertime before we actually got brought out of lockdown. And I know a lot of the past, what's gone on in the past 2 years, is probably a blur for a lot of us. We're probably forgotten about it. Sometimes, sometimes when you're going through unpleasant experiences, your mind sort of blocks it out afterwards. But having to stay at home isn't an unpleasant experience for everyone. It we had to sacrifice. Like I posted on Facebook that I'd never known a time before in my life when, in all the years I've been on this earth, when people had to sacrifice so much for the sake of others. You couldn't go on holiday. You couldn't go. You couldn't visit anybody. You couldn't go in anybody else's house, even your parents. If you had to stay 2 meters, you were supposed to stay 2 meters apart from everybody, from everybody else in the streets. You were supposed to just basically you had to just stay at home. We got these letters off Boris Johnson telling us that we had to stay at home basically, and we had to. We had to go out to do a food shopping. I mean, in China, they really got locked down. They did. They wouldn't let them out. They had food delivered to their houses. But it wasn't like that in Britain. You know what I mean? You could. I mean, you could go out for exercise as well. But I don't know if the regulations were really adhered to, but by most people. But I don't. You know what I mean? It's a bit hard to say because we're not used to situations like that, are we? We're used to being able to mix with each other freely, and they sort of changed the rules as time went on. They said you could have up to 6 people in your home. After we came out of the lockdown, I think you could have 6 people. There was a time, mate, when you could have up to 6 people in your home. Then, as the coronavirus pandemic got worse, they changed that and said that you couldn't be in anybody's home unless you were in a support bubble with them, and it was just one person, your best mate. You know what I mean? You could go in your best mate's house, but you couldn't go in anybody else's house. And they changed the rules. You know what I mean? It sort of as. But now 2 years later, all the restrictions, you don't even have to you don't have to wear a mask in shops unless the actual premises themselves insist that you wear a mask on their premises. That's different. But officially, by law, you're not required to wear a mask anywhere. But you're not even required to self-isolate if you test positive now. There's no restrictions at all, and it's gone back again to just how it was 2 years ago. But this discussion is. How have you amused yourself these past 2 years? How have you kept yourself occupied? I mean, you've not been able to go to many places because all the cinemas got closed down. In fact, nearly everywhere got closed down. all the bowling places got closed down. Nearly everything was closed down. My voluntary job was closed down. The garden centre where I volunteer for, it was closed. It was closed down twice. for ages. But anyway, but let me know what you remember about the past 2 years. Now you've kept yourself amused. Anyway, I'll be back soon with more discussions